Kara Shalom, welcome to our watercolor journey. How do you create black? Heinrich has been experimenting with different color combinations. Stick around and look at this beautiful result. The materials used are listed in the description below. On the palette we have transparent orange and French ultramarine. The Canson heritage paper is taped to a flat board. Heinrich uses a Princeton 1-inch mop to wet the entire paper. He's going to work wet on wet, so it's important that the paper is soaked so that he has enough time to work. He made the black from a premix of French ultramarine and transparent orange. He dips the Rosemary & Co. Kolinsky Sable No. 7 round into the premix and starts with a tree line in the background. He wants to create a snowy landscape, so he leaves plenty of white spaces. The paint disperses by itself on the wet paper and creates lovely soft edges. Notice how the pigments separate into a grayish blue with an orange glow on the wet paper. If you work wet on dry, the colors won't separate so distinctly and you will get a very interesting deep black, which you will see later in the video. It seems that the French ultramarine pigment is a tad heavier than that of the transparent orange, so this provides very interesting color dispersions. He places the paint in diagonal lines to bring variation in the landscape. He adds a touch of transparent orange to bring a little bit of warmth to the foreground, and then he adds a bit of the blue to the bushes on the right for some shadows. Notice that he works very lightly with the brush. It barely touches the paper. In this way, he allows the paint to blend and mix by itself to create these lovely color variations. To create depth, he draws in some branches for a tree on the right. These will fade when the paper dries, so it will be very, very light. He splatters some of the dark mix to create texture. The paper is still very wet, so the splatters diffuse into the water. The softness helps to enhance the misty effect. Then he adds a tiny bit of salt into the pigment. The paint is very transparent in this part of the painting, so the salt won't have a massive impact, but it will create a few lighter spots just to add a bit of interest. Let the painting dry. Now it's time for the tree on the right. He refreshes the black mix and uses the Rosemary & Co. Sable blend rigger to draw the tree. The entire background has soft edges, so the tree will now stand out nicely because it will have hard edges. The dark color used also helps to bring the tree a bit more forward. It's important to remember that you need to use all three the main values in your painting. Light, which in this case is the white of the paper. Middle, here it is the grayish mix, and then dark, the black tree. These three values give your painting depth and make it interesting to look at. It is also important to ground your objects so they don't look like they're floating in the air. In this case, you can see the base of the tree, so if you leave it like that, it looks unnatural. Adding a bit of shadow or some lines to define the terrain will give the object some place to rest on, which will look more authentic. He uses the colors on the palette now to make browns and darker blues to add some rocks and texture to the foreground. If you want to know more about some other color mixes to create blacks and dark browns, be sure to check out these videos on our channel. The links are in the description below. Notice that some of the branches are a bit darker than others. This gives dimension to the tree. Here he splatters some of the black paint again. This time the splatters stay put, as there's no moisture for the paint to blend into. This creates some variation in the terrain and makes it a lot more interesting. Splattering can get a bit wild if you are not careful. He ended up with a few spots in the sky, so this is a good time to bring some life into the painting by adding some birds in the sky. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and let us know in the comments if you found these tips and techniques helpful. You are welcome to share your paintings with us on Instagram. Thank you for watching. We hope to see you soon. Vaya con Dios.